Yo, what is going on, folks? Danny, boy Reginald, special guest in the house. Mr. Old Ops Guy, the Old Ops Guy himself, Mark Halpern. How is it going?
Good. I was hoping to be here to hear the good morning, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Bill Murphy, but we know Bill is at a very special event, his brother's wedding. So we congratulate his
Yeah,
brother on that.
it's actually the bachelor party. It's the warm up to the wedding, which is
It's
like,
the warm up to the wedding. So
yeah,
Bill is off today, and I'm trying to do the best and fill in Bill's spot here with Dan.
yeah. And look, Mark challenged me here, because we were not going to do a show today. I was like, nah, it's just not the same. But no, to his credit, he's like, I want to talk about the World Cup. I want to talk about all this news coming in. And he's right, actually. A lot actually happened since we last were on air. So 525 SIP, SIN, sponsored as always by our good friends at the Dugout of Millwood. We appreciate you, Mark, for always sponsoring the pod.
Absolutely. So we had a little bit of a issue this past week in not baseball, not basketball, not American football, not even ice hockey, but in the true sport of the word, football.
Yes.
A game was played against Argentina and Egypt. And mind you, I'll stand here in a minute. I'm not the biggest soccer guy. I was rooting for the United States as I am an American, and I want to see my home country win. However, as a sports analyst, I have to tune in a little bit and see what's going on. And I didn't see the game itself, but within minutes of it ending, everywhere from ESPN to homegrown networks on it, this was a growing conspiracy, and then I got to see it. Egypt was robbed. I'm sorry. Look, I would love to see nothing more than Messi to have win it all, go out as he already is the all-time great. But let's face it, let's cut out all the BS because most of the scoring really happened in the last few minutes of the game. But there was a call in which Mohamed Salah would have easily scored, but a foul was called that wasn't even a foul that was taken away and it would have put up Egypt 3-2. And at that point, Egypt would have won. But no, it went into extra time, then extra time. And then finally, it ended with Argentina winning. There is a lot of controversy from the Egyptian Soccer Association. I do not know what the official of it is called, so I hope that is okay as I named it to the Egyptian soccer team. And I stand by you on this personally. I do think there were fouls that were not called and you were robbed. Dan, your point.
Well, didn't Egypt, they had their second goal scratched away because the VAR, the assisted referee, um, caught that there was a foul like way, way, way beforehand that wasn't called. So that gets reviewed because it was a goal and whatever and gets overturned eventually. You can't look at any like of the assisted referee with all the technology. You couldn't find that there was a foul on Argentina. I mean, I just find, and look, I know nothing about soccer. I'm not going to pretend to, be an expert, but I just think that was kind of ridiculous. That there were virtually no calls against Argentina, and
Right.
and all the big moments came because Egypt was called for fouls and everything. So
As I said to Dan before we went live, I think it would be nothing better than to see Messi win the golden, boot and be the end of it, walk out as the greatest man to step on a pitch ever. However, I don't think he is the cause of it. I don't think you can't blame anybody on the Argentina
no,
team as they're playing. My question goes back to the good old refs with the funny Michael Strahan, Brett Favre move. All these things. We're rooting for things to get done. I truly hope there was no nefarious gain made by the refs. Funny enough, the refs that were set to score, not to score, I apologize, to officiate the current next game were all released because they were all Argentinian and they could not be, it would be a controversy, obviously. So they had to call in a whole new crew for this next game with Argentina. I don't know. To me, it's almost the Tom Brady treatment, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said before, it's funny how, VAR takes away the goal from Egypt when the foul occurred well before the goal was scored. But then you don't take it away when it's the other way around. Like, and I get it, the drama, Argentina came back and tied the game and all that stuff. And
Yeah,
look, you give Argentina a lot of credit, and then of course the game winner is what is the question at hand, the goal at hand that should have been disallowed.
correct.
Um, Still, like I just think it's just bonkers how you don't even question that. And again, I'm not the best person to talk about soccer or anything, but that pissed me off.
Yeah.
If that were my team, like I'd be livid knowing that no calls are being given, nothing.
It's unbelievable to think, that was happening. But let's decide it to one of the coolest things that's going on during the World Cup. Now, in baseball, football, basketball, hockey, stadiums have traditions. You have the Cardinals with the sock monkey, the Pittsburgh Steelers with the terrible towels. I don't really know. I don't have Nate Moser here for hockey, but there's a game where people buy teddy bears and throw them all onto the ice to go to St. Jude's. So that's a tradition.
Yeah, that
Uh,
happens a lot. The one of those throw the bear on the ice type of thing.
yeah, and I think that's truly cool. And basketball has its thing. However, I never wanted to be a Norwegian more in my life to be able to sit in one of those rows and with that jumping, bro, I just want to join in, be in a place where I can join in. How much fun does that look like as a stadium thing going on, Dan?
Well, the fact of the matter is, you had a whole section, not even a whole section, like basically an entire stadium, you know, doing the rowing. I mean, dude, it's phenomenal to watch, and they're like really into it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we've seen sports from around the world. We all know what American sports, bring and go. We've seen what Japan has done and the craziness that goes on there, and Asia ball. We've watched, but we've never really focused on soccer as a network. So a lot of us really seeing this for the first time is because we're really not a big soccer network. Doesn't mean we're not cheering on USA. Well, we're not cheering them on anymore as they're out, but it doesn't mean we weren't cheering on USA and whatnot. It's nice to be able to have a change of news once in a while
yeah.
and be able to talk something different than what we normally, we're just talking, oh, well, he was signed today for 3, no. I wanted to be, just in a spot where I could just slide in and say, look, just drape a shirt over me. I'll just do this with you and you can have the shirt back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God. I will say these national team fans, and look, I thought, USA has a lot of pride for its national teams, whether it's hockey, whether it's basketball, all that stuff. I thought we had a lot of pride. You watch these soccer games,
Unreal.
you should see the streets of these countries, bro. Like, I'm telling you, lined up. Not nowhere on the streets can you go anywhere. You know, colors, you have all this confetti and flags and beers being thrown up and all that stuff. Like it's a completely new atmosphere. I was watching the documentary about the US soccer team leading up to this World Cup here, going through all the trials and errors and all that stuff, building this team. And one of the things that our national team coach, Mauricio Pochettino, I think is what his name
It,
is.
me with pronunciations, it's horrible. So I'm going to say you're right.
Pochettino, we'll call it that. And I apologize if I butchered the name. But one of the things that he says, growing up, as an Argentine, is that, you got to show the biggest pride going out there and playing for your country when it comes to this sport. And not only does it show with teams like Spain and Portugal and Argentina, England, but it shows with the fans. And because the fact that soccer is not our national sport and all that, like I just think we have a tough time. Not just the players, but I think the fans have a real tough time matching the energy of all of these other nations that follow it on the daily.
And, not to say that soccer isn't an important sport in the United States, it just doesn't get the marketing that it should when you already got, no offense to soccer, you got four major league sports that occupy 90% of America, leaving 10% for everything else.
Yeah.
So I think soccer gets kind of left out. Not that I would sit and really watch because it's not my cup of tea, as they would say in England. But still, that just you look at the patriotism, not just of Americans, but of all these countries, and they're flocking to whether it's whatever country their team is playing at, taking over, but they're not causing ruckus. They're not
Mm.
being disrespectful. They're abiding by the laws and they're encouraging the laws. As we all know, Norwegian, Finland, that's how they're brought up, is everybody is everybody. And it's just a great thing to see.
Yeah.
Now,
Like
sorry, go ahead, Dan.
real quick, like even England singing Hey Jude because Jude Bellingham scored two goals within like what, 2 minutes or whatever, like
Something like
98
that.
seconds, well, whatever the hell it was. After the game, they're banging out to Hey Jude.
Mm.
Like it's a different atmosphere, it's a different type of feeling that,
It is.
you know.
Now, Dan and I, were pulling for the Americans, and something happened during their winning game, and a red flag. Sorry, I apologize, wrong sport. A red card was given to the best American player, and within the waning minutes of the game, and was going to keep him out of the Belgium game.
Yes.
Well,
But Balogun, Folarin Balogun, I believe
thank
that's.
you, Dan. Um, And let me tell you, you take this guy out of the lineup, the team is a different team. So what happened? Donald Trump, the president of the United States, basically, went over there to talk to them. I'm sure there's pictures of Trump on his knees saying, "Please, please, I can't go back to America without him playing." Whatever, that's just me being jokingly. Whatever was said, whatever was re-looked at, the card was overturned and he was allowed to play. Now, from the opening minutes, USA came out, boom, bang, zoom, 1-0. There you go. I walked out of my room, all of a sudden I come back in, it's 2-1. I'm like, what the hell happened in like 3 minutes? And then it was 4-1. And then it was like the Black Sox losing the 1919 World Series. It was like, how do you lose to Belgium?
Yeah, for whatever reason. But by the way, the U.S. looked flat all game.
Yeah.
Like they did not play well. Like Belgium had their number and cooked them. For whatever reason, they get spooked in the last 16. For whatever reason, every time they advance to the last 16. they get absolutely manhandled by these teams. I don't know if it's a mentality thing. I don't know if we just don't have enough talent. Like I don't know what it is. I think that the U.S. team is definitely talented. You got players that play in Europe, in Italy and Germany and England, you know. So from a talent standpoint, we're there. Um, I don't know, man. Like, especially with how embarrassed they got embarrassed big time. That was like watching the Jets on Monday Night Football. You know, like it was rough, man. Like it was not fun.
Well, the soccer world will move on. We're going to flip from the pitch to the diamond
Yeah.
because let's face it, we're a baseball network at this time of year, and you got to talk a little bit of baseball.
Yes.
Uh, as basketball and football and even hockey are all on the outs, we
Mm.
got baseball in America right now, and we're coming up on the All-Star game. And we were talking this past weekend on who we wanted to see in the home run derby. And, we're getting to see the names of the players that are coming in. And we know for a fact Junior Junior Caminero will be in for this season. And we know that Wilson Contreras has signed. But the question is, it isn't filled up yet. And we're waiting. There's a lot of rumors that Kyle Schwarber might join. But here's the guarantee names that are in as of right now. We have Caminero from the Tampa Bay Rays, Ben Rice from the New York Yankees, Jack Caggs from the Kansas City Royals, Wilson Contreras, who's just on a heck of a year for the Red Sox. And I was hoping when I saw his name last night, I was pumped. Jordan Walker of the Cardinals is going to be in it. And right now, Bryce Harper has agreed to also participate. So this is technically, I mean, since the Shohei Pete Alonso home run derby, this is really the first real home run derby we've had in a while. And not to take away from the past years, but of the participants, this
Mhm.
brings us back to kind of the older age where it was the power hitters.
Yeah, I mean, last year you had Cal Raleigh and Kyle Schwarber, all those people, right? Um, it was fun, like it was great and all that stuff. Um, but being real with you, you know, the part that I love about the home run derby this time around is that we're actually we may have more people participating that are like star like, which is amazing to watch. Um, Caminero participated last time around, so it'd be good to see him again. Jordan Walker giving the St. Louis Cardinals some love. As a matter of fact, I think he homered in his last game, preparing for it. So did Ben Rice. Ben Rice
Yeah.
hit a couple bombs, which I like to see. He announces it and then he hits home runs on the day he faces the Rays. It was awesome.
That's calling your shot before the shot could even be
Yes.
called.
Yes. Oh God.
Must
So
have had some green M&Ms before he played the game that day.
right.
For everybody
Now,
who doesn't know, the green M&M used to be the superstition. You hit a home run if you ate one before you went up to bat.
right. Now the thing that I do not love about the home run derby is the fact that it's on Netflix.
We've talked about this on the network,
Yeah.
intensely, and not just with baseball, but with all sports that we've watched. That Amazon, Netflix, Peacock has games, and the purpose for these net the no sorry they're not networks for these channels to get games is to get subscribers, and that's not fair to in-state team. So if Dan and I are in New York, we're watching the Mets and the Yankees, and they're putting it on Netflix, and neither one of us have Netflix. We can't see it in New York. That should not happen. If it was a game in Nebraska, I could say, oh, all right. If I need to see the game that importantly, I'll watch it on Netflix. But no home team should be blacked out from this. Um, i- Dan, what do you think on that?
Luckily, it's a national event, so we'll be able to get to see it. But yeah, I agree. Like, if blackouts are a big thing nowadays, and not only blackouts, but being priced out of sporting events is a major thing, whether you're at the event or whether the fact you're watching the event and it's essentially like pay-per-view. Like you gotta be a subscriber to these streaming platforms, pay boatload of money per month, all just to watch what, maybe a couple games a year. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't make any sense. Like,
Right. And I agree with Dan fully. But one thing I love to change about the home run derby, Dan, is that we're going back to the old rules.
yes.
No more 3 minute time limit with a timeout. It's by pitch. And this also, I mean, this takes us back to the McGuire years, the Griffey years. And I think it's done so players are not tiring the crap out of themselves trying to hit as many as they can in 3 minutes. Now it's just 20 swings. So 20 swings is a batting practice for these guys.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we're
and I,
not
and I
overtraining.
love that. I love that. I think before it was an out system where you had what, 10 outs or whatever it
Yeah.
was, and then you're done. Then of course they went to the time system, which was to the purpose is to speed it up a little bit because sometimes you have all these outs, but but then you're swinging for the fences and you're hitting like a bajillion home runs. Um, I know Bobby Abreu had a crazy first round in Detroit
Yes.
years ago, and it took him forever to get out.
Yeah.
So, I totally get it. I get why they're doing it, and it's not a bad idea. Like I like I learned to love the timed format, and now I get to relearn the swing format, which is great. I love
And
it.
it's gonna be fun. And now that I'm assuming Harper's father will be the one pitching to him as he pitched to him in the last one. Um, the All-Star game is coming up fast, and we know who's going to be in it. But Dan and I have to talk a little Mets Yankees, just because what's going on. Okay, the Mets they suck. Dan, how the Yankees doing?
Yeah, yeah, you're not gonna get away with it that easy, but
No, 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 no.
we'll chat
We'll
Yankees.
circle back. Don't worry.
We'll chat Yankees. They split their series against the Rays. I honestly thought it'd be worse. Like I think on Bombers banter, I either predicted 3 out of 4 in favor of Tampa or Tampa was gonna sweep. Because I knew Tampa wanted the payback after they did not complete the series win in the Bronx. So I had that feeling that they had our number, and they were playing much better baseball when me and Bill chatted about going into July. Um, but the Yankees they took two. They were able to split the series. It's not necessarily the best given the fact that they've been struggling of late and their approach at the plate is atrocious. But you take it. You take the wins and and you don't complain. Um, not in love with the 17 strikeouts.
Oof.
That was rough to watch. Not in love with the inconsistent starting pitching. Bullpen is trash, and they miss Aaron Judge.
Yeah,
That
and Aaron Judge
about
is
my
still months away before he's
yeah.
going to return.
Yeah, they're still talking September, and I know Cashman gave an update because he's in Tampa for the draft. And the update was that Aaron Judge was going to be get some reimaging to see if there's any type of improvement on the ribs. And I don't trust that it's going to be any better or slightly better than what it was. Like, you know, he hasn't had much activity. So let's see. I hope I'm wrong, but I think this timeline is going to be much longer than everyone expects it to be.
Um, Now I'll go and kick the Mets in the ass a little bit. The Mets are 5-5 in their last 10. But here's my problem. Three of those games, the Mets gave up double-digit runs. 14-3 against the Braves. 10-9 they won, but almost lost. 16-12. This isn't football to the friggin' Royals. But then they end up winning the next two. And I think it was Dan who texted me that. It's a football game going on with the Mets and KC right now. Look, for all of you who are watching the New York Mets, the Mets have a lineup. It's not the lineup's fault. The Mets don't have more than one pitcher who is absolutely consistent.
Yeah.
Nolan McLean is the only Met that has been out there. Freddie Peralta hasn't done jack except been jack shit. David Peterson, we let go, and he signed with the Cubs, and his first pitch was a home run to deep center field. So there was Kodai Senga was in the. We moved to the bullpen, and he came out and pitched yesterday and gave up 3 runs in an inning. Have we learned that the Senga experiment has finally ended? I mean,
This is coming out of the mouth of someone that was pretty pumped when they got
yes.
Kodai Senga.
Oh, yes, I
Understand,
was. I
you
look.
know,
Me and Mike. We will stand behind him. We were very excited.
you know,
We really wanted Yoshiyama Yamanobu, but that wasn't going to be in the cards. The
yeah.
Mets and the Yankees both lost on him to the Dodgers. And here's my outlook for the Mets. The Mets are currently 15 games behind the Braves. It's not impossible. It's just improbable. Can the Mets make a run at the wild card? No. Let's forget that option because you got the trade deadline. The only way the Mets would be a positive is if they're buyers, and the Mets are not buyers in this trade deadline. The Mets are sellers, and the Mets are going to sell off Freddie Peralta. You will see go. I'm sure they'll make some type of deal for Marcus Simeon. They're going to trade everything, bring up what they have down. They'll keep, obviously, Lindor's going to stay. Bichette will finish out the season, but they have no true first baseman. Marcus Simeon has not done the job at all. They have no true second baseman. Left field Soto, besides the inside the park kitty home run, hasn't done such a bad job. AJ Ewing and Carson Bench have earned their spots next year, as far as I'm concerned. And Francisco Alvarez, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The Mets have no pitching. The bullpen has sucked all year. So when Steve Cohen comes out and says the Mets are not going to be competitive in 2027, I believe him. Because unless the Mets somehow get Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and the ghosts of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig on their team, the Mets are not going to be the front runners for at least a few years.
You're obviously going to be selling. It's the smart thing to do. My big thing is, do you want David Stearns to be overseeing this new era of the young Mets coming up? He fumbled massively. And look, I gave Stearns a lot of credit for the offseason. I thought the offseason moves were fine. And of course I should have known better. Like the it just wasn't enough for this baseball team. So then now I have a lot of questions about whether or not Stearns can actually do the job that he's supposed to do, which is to run baseball operations.
And
You
the
know,
Mets had that guy in Billy Epler, but we saw how that really spun out fast.
yeah, and of course Billy Epler, he comes from the Cashman tree and all that stuff. So he's a smart guy. And while Cashman has taken a massive turn towards the analytics, Cashman is still very much a hey, get the big time pitcher and get the big time hitting type of guy. Here and there. Obviously, the Yankee team is not built that way anymore, but still, here and there, you'll see that. Um, Billy Epler was that guy too. Um, the pivot towards the sabermetrics has really been rough for the Mets.
Hmm.
You see it on the defense, you see it at the plate, you see it with the pitching, other than Clay Holmes and maybe Nolan McLean. And it's just astounding how the Mets can never figure it out. They can never get it right.
Right. You know, and here's the thing, Dan, and you know a thing or two about owners. The Mets have Steve Cohen, who has no problem spending money. But where is Steve Cohen's mind really at? Is it on the New York Mets or is it on the $10 billion complex he's building and has to get ready for by 2029? Right now, he's the guy just signing checks. And I like what Dan said, as letting David Stearns run baseball operation. Look, David Stearns put together a winning team in Milwaukee and still winning. I think he can do it. I think he just, in the phrases of Mo Green, his eyes got too big for his stomach. And if you don't know what I mean, go watch The Godfather. Um, I think David Stearns has to come back down to earth a little bit. Forget about the fact that he has an unlimited payroll and treat it like he only has a minor payroll and make moves that make sense. The first look, Jorge Polanco, solid hitter, but he doesn't replace Pete Alonso. It's not your replacement. I love the signing. I just don't like the idea that he was going to play first. There were mistakes made. Now there's time to correct them. Jared Young's had a fun time at first. He's getting a good outlook. So, the Mets and the Yankees are doing their thing. We've spoken that. What's going on in NFL? Well, Jared Kelsey got married. Who cares? No offense. The Mandami warning of air conditioning of 78 degrees in all areas was not held to. Taylor said, send me the bill. Uh, might as well talk about it. Terry,
I couldn't believe when Bill told me this, that some family flew in from Indiana just to be outside
yep,
Madison Square Garden. How
yep.
the hell, how does it make any sense?
I don't get it. It's not like you were going to see her or him.
Like, God damn. Like,
Supposedly, people who were waiting outside did get some desserts and whatnot that were left over. So, in other words, they got the stuff that was going to be tossed away anyway. So yeah, Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift are now married. Now we don't need to see her on the screen 950 million times this year. I guess we could talk about Terry and Arnold. Dude, what the hell are you doing? This guy, a perennial high time player in the secondary with the Detroit Lions. If you don't know, has been in severe trouble with the law with kidnapping moniker and domestic violence and all this, and has now cleared waivers, which means nobody wanted him.
yeah.
Is Terry Arnold done with, Dan?
I don't think so. The Jets are expressing interest in him, which is very interesting, given that, they're already in legal limbo with Geno Smith. So you're going to put yourself into more legal limbo. And I know that he's cleared to practice with any team because they're not going to have the GPS tracker on him.
Correct.
So, he's free to do whatever. Um, I don't know, man. Like I would stay. But I guess it's always good to have some type of depth, just to, especially just pre at the very least the preseason, and then you just part ways if it doesn't work out. But like I don't know, man. Like I would stay away from it. Like
I couldn't agree more. A couple of fun notes quickly. Uh, Adam Vinatieri will have his number retired into the Colts Ring of Honor. Well
yeah,
deserved. And well, he's no longer a rookie. Third-year quarterback Caleb Williams decided to gift the Pope with an autographed jersey. This kind of makes me wonder. Well, it's a Chi-Town White Sox Pope. It's got to be a Chicago Bears fan too, so it makes all the sense.
yeah.
Uh, we don't talk hockey here, so we'll leave that for the Breakaway Bandits crew. And in the NBA, there's been a little bit going on here with trades, Dan. And obviously, the big name out there that you and I do not want is LeBron James. Before we talk any trades that have happened, where do you think LeBron is going to end up?
I don't know. I thought it'd be Golden State, but now they don't seem like they're pursuing him, or their pursuit isn't as big as we thought it was. Um, if I'm LeBron, the only place that has ever really truly showed him love was Cleveland. And he keeps saying, I'm doing this for my happiness. Well, wouldn't your happiness be home?
I don't think anybody could have said it any better. It's absolutely true. When he lost in Miami, the Miami fans let him know it.
Yeah.
He came back to Cleveland. What happened? People were happy. Then he left for Los Angeles.
And look, Cleveland lost 3 times in the NBA Finals
Yep.
to the Golden State Warriors. So, like, it's he's revered as one of the best. Get
So
the one title.
1 year. So what? Sorry, 1 year. Sign a 1 year contract and pair him with Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. I don't know how
Now,
that's gonna work out. I don't know
I
how
don't
that's
know
gonna
how
work
it's going to
out.
work out either, but we've seen other weird
Would
groups
you
work together.
would you put Donovan Mitchell in that spot? Like, I would
He just
almost
signed
say
a max $273 million contract.
I would almost put him in I guess putting all the shoulders on LeBron and I think that's probably the better way, actually, now I think about it. Putting Donovan Mitchell in a situation where he's not the main guy, and I don't want to put LeBron on it because he's too old. This is where the tough it is because I don't trust Spider as the top guy. Like I just don't. Like
I mean,
he's proven time and time again that he can't get the job done. No, like
unfortunately, it got destroyed by Knicks. Yeah, I just said it. It was not
bunch of
So one,
times,
a two, a
a bunch of
three, a
times.
four. Sorry, just had to do it. A big trade is now being held up due to a probe. The Toronto Raptors and LA Clippers have made a trade around Kawhi Leonard that involved Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick and a couple of picks here and there. But now there's an investigation into where there was circumvented money, meaning salary was not reported right. So there's a money issue. Let me say that again, because it has nothing to do with the players. They're fine, they can play. It has to do where money was moved. That's what they're holding this trade up for. Give me a break. Give me. I understand there are penalties that can be ensued, but if your lawyers are telling you you're fine, make the trade. No, they're going to wait this out. So that means if this ends up getting towards close to your within a month of basketball, Forget about that trade. Kawhi Leonard's staying where he was.
Yeah, the reality of the situation is Toronto has to be careful here because they will any of those, you know, penalties, they assume those penalties. They don't want that. They don't want that in anywhere in their payroll. That's a Clippers problem. So yeah, no, if I'm Toronto, like if it comes out that there was some little of a funneling of the money and all that stuff, like as much as of course, Toronto fans would love to have Kawhi Leonard back. Loved it, and he loved it there.
Absolutely.
He loved it there in Toronto. Like there's mutual love and respect there. But the damages could be a lot to handle, and I just don't think it's. I just don't think for them, it's something that they need to get, you know, to handle. So
Um, it's just kind of ridiculous. One more quick thing on basketball, and we'll get to wrapping this up. Um, an interview was done with John Horst, who is the general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks, and when asked about trading Giannis away, he said it was the hardest decision he's ever made in his life. He says, how do you trade one of the top three players in basketball after what he's done for the team? And what a lot of people don't understand is this is not really on John Horst. This is what Giannis wanted. Giannis wanted out of Milwaukee. So making the trade to Miami, which is literally a stab to the stomach, um, it was considered his hardest trade, and I was kind of unhappy they traded him into the East. They could have traded him to the West, and we would only have to have faced them maybe a handful of times a year.
goddamn.
That is going to do it here for the Sports Insanity podcast, part of the Sports Insanity Network that I was so lucky to tune in for and sorry, not replace, step in for the great Bill Murphy, as Bill will be back with them possibly on Monday or by next Friday. I don't know Bill's plans yet, but you can look for this show to be live again on Monday. Tune in for us to be live on Sunday. Dan, you're the man. Where they can find us otherwise?
At Insanity Real, X and Facebook. Um, then of course, the website sportsanitynetwork.com. Please look at our YouTube page. You can like this video and all our videos, and then subscribe. Thank you to all the new subscribers out there. We really appreciate the support. It's been awesome to watch. So thank you.
We
And
appreciate the 26 comments we got back on Batters Up that was boosted on X. And one of the comments, he asked his name not to be mentioned because I don't know why. He is from France. And the translation says, you guys work like batter. Yeah. I don't know if that's what he meant, but I think he's kind to say we're cooking with grease. That's what it is.
yeah,
So we appreciate everybody who's been reaching out on X. We're trying to get our network good. If you want to go to X right now, we did something fun for the Little League in our town, my son's Little League team. Our president of operations put together, it took 4 hours of his time to put together a great 6-minute little video of these kids being interviewed. So please go in and look at it on the YouTube page. And then, like Dan says, hit that little bell.
yes, and we appreciate you, love you, and thank you. We promise we'll have a top five next week. It's gonna happen. Mark's not used to our top five system,
I
so
apologize. As Bill is definitely better at the SIP episodes than I am. I'm on the lower
oh, Mark,
stool.
I thought you did a good job today.
I said I'm on the lower stool, but I think I filled in for Bill nicely today. I did not. I did not ruin his reputation at all.
Nah, you did fine. This is an everyone show, so please come back anytime. This is not just me and Bill. I know we're the ones that hold down the fort usually, but everyone's welcome on SIP, man. Like
Yeah.
this is everyone's podcast. Um, Stay tuned for Monday. Hopefully Bill is not trashed out.
Bill, Bill, if we need to, I'll stand over you and be the puppet master, and I'll move your arms, and Patch will be there to move your jaw. Don't worry, we'll make it work.
My God. Adios.
Catch you on the flip side.